What's going on?
News broke yesterday on the Felger and Maz program about the new offensive coordinator. Everything old is new again in New England.
Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, just tweeting seconds ago. Throwback. The Patriots are expected to hire Josh McDaniels to be their offensive coordinator, his third stint in this role. The favorite all along, he writes. He interviewed today, solidified his standing. Now he'll join Mike Vrabel's staff and work with Drake May.
Josh McDaniels returning to New England.
And thank you, Jim Murray, for not saying blue check mark. I couldn't thank you enough. I appreciate it. My respect for you remains high. Yes, so Josh McDaniels is, I guess he never left, like literally, like he never left. He just was around.
Has a home here.
Yeah.
Foxborough, I think.
He never moved his family to Vegas. And
Westwood?
Okay. I think so.
Okay.
Listen, he's probably got quite a little setup in Westwood.
I'm sure it's great, and I don't despise it. I don't think it's the wrong move. But for all this talk about needing to change things up, and if the Patriots have any feeling that there is some organizational rot going on, hiring a guy who was here even as a player and who learned the game of football as a professional under Bill Belichick and the longtime offensive coordinator, who has already been back once since then, bringing him back to be the OC again, doesn't seem to do a lot to push back against that whole we need to change things up and start to get rid of the things organizationally that are just tired.
Is this inspired? Of course not. Not inspired at all. It's an easy hire, and that's what Felger and Maz are saying. It's a lazy hire. That might be true, but take a look at it from a different perspective. Is Josh McDaniels a very good offensive coordinator? And you look at what he's done. He was a favorite of Brady when he was here.
Okay.
He made busted Cam Newton look decent, and Mac Jones was a Pro Bowl alternate and then fell right off a table the second that McDaniels left.
No. Cam Newton did not look decent.
No.
And
early in the season he
did. And Mac Jones fell apart at the end of the first season with Josh McDaniels still here.
They were
and I will say this. If it's okay to ask this question about Bill Belichick, not to be a myopic prick about it, but let me ask, what has Josh McDaniels done without Tom Brady?
I don't know. What has Josh McDaniels done without Tom Brady? He was terrible in Denver. He was terrible in Vegas as a head coach.
33.
As an offensive coordinator, he is good at what he does.
With Tom Brady as the quarterback.
I think that you put him with a quarterback like this, it will be far better for the quarterback than, say, the guy Udinsky, or however you pronounce his name, the 28-year-old guy who's like the next big thing. The reason Udinsky would come here would be to work with May, have him succeed, and then leave in 2 years.
Okay, that's
Josh McDaniels isn't going anywhere.
I hate that argument.
Why?
And you're not the only one who's done it. Is because that means if he's not going to get a job, it means saying that someone's a bad candidate because they're going to be so good they're going to get another job is ludicrous. Like we're going to hire this guy and he's going to be so good at developing Drake May that he's going to go out and get another job. That means he developed Drake May. That means that he ran a tremendous offense. That means that he's had success.
And what I know is the best thing for a young quarterback is continuity. He's already on his second offensive coordinator in 2 years.
Ask what happened to Josh Allen when Dayball left? I mean, come on. Continuity for a couple years. If you have an offense... If your offensive coordinator gets a head coaching job, that means that he succeeded. That means that he developed the quarterback. Once you're developed, you're developed. Like if an offensive coordinator gets a job 2 years after he takes your job, that means your quarterback is now developed, and now he can move on to other offensive coordinators. Your quarterback is not an elite quarterback if he needs the same offensive coordinator for the entire expanse of his career. That's a bad argument. Josh McDaniels is probably a fine offensive coordinator. I'm not positive why no one else wanted him ever. I'm not positive. He's apparently not the greatest guy to deal with, is he was hated as a head coach, and I understand he's not a head coach.
Hated very
And
much.
by the way,
But I mean, I guess it's not the greatest personality in the world, according to players. I don't know him.
Sure, but in this role, he's proven to be good.
No,
at what he does.
and that is it is. I can't argue with you, and I can't say that it's going to be a failure, but I can. Certainly, I don't think it's going to be a failure.
I don't, look, I'm not saying it's going to be a failure, but I will argue and I will push back against the whole he's a good offensive coordinator. We know this. No, we know he was a good offensive coordinator with Tom Brady. He went to be the OC for St. Louis after he left Denver, and he had Sam Bradford, and I think in his Bradford's second year. And I saw this.
Did Bradford get hurt that year?
Bradford was coming off the Rookie of the Year. I don't know if he got
Bradford
hurt.
got hurt pretty much every year, but yeah.
But they didn't. But they didn't do anything. The offense didn't do anything. I looked it up last night. They averaged like 12 points a game with Josh McDaniels there in St. Louis as the offensive coordinator after he left the head coaching job in Denver. Now, not a lot of time to work with, and he kind of went in there. And when he came back to New England, yeah, so it was okay for a little bit, and then it fell apart when the pressure really, came down on Mac Jones at the end of the season. You need to show something, and they didn't. They fell apart at the end. And I just push back on the whole, we know he can do the job. I don't know that he can. We know that he's not going to be a head coach, and you're right. He's not going to be leaving to take another head coaching job.
Correct.
So you don't have to worry about that. But to say that he is absolutely bona fide.
Or that's a qualification. Like, let's everyone take a step back. A qualification is you were so bad at coaching that you can't get another head coaching job. That means you're a better candidate than someone who's really good that could get a head coaching job. Logically, we all have to admit makes zero sense. That doesn't make any sense. Because, again, the reason you would get a head coaching job is because you developed the quarterback. So I really just, we have to admit, everyone in society, that's a terrible argument. Just logically, take McDaniels out of it. It doesn't matter who. A plus B does not equal C. That is what I know. And so the Krafts are obviously very comfortable with this.
Yeah.
They live in comfort. They love comfort. And he won't be a disaster, you would think. So you got that.
I don't think he'll be a disaster.
You got a head coach who won't be a disaster, and a offensive coordinator that won't be a disaster.
This is the hire that is easy.
Yes.
It's very, very simple to point at a guy. Oh, we know he worked for us
He already
before.
lives
Let's
here.
bring
He's
him
already
back.
getting paid.
I mean, he's being paid by another guy. Would it surprise you if the Patriots didn't officially give him the offensive coordinator title? They get a special assistant to the head coach and have McDaniels call plays anyway, so the Raiders will keep paying him. I mean, that's something that the Patriots have done in the past, but I think he will help this quarterback develop.
Well, Adam has a point to make, and it's not invalid.
Hey.
Adam, go ahead.
What's up, guys? I think the comp there is Steve Spagnuolo. He was a defensive coordinator for years, beat the Patriots in 07, and then he got the Rams job. He sucked at that. Now he's been a defensive coordinator back and forth with a bunch of teams, but he's been with the Chiefs since 2019. So they won a few Super Bowls. He never took off because nobody wants him. I think Josh is like that. I don't really like him. I'd rather have someone new, but I think that's a comp.
But because I was going to say, but like there was Dick LeBeau and the guy in Washington. No, in Philadelphia. Fangio. There's something about being a defensive coordinator, I think, that's different than being an offensive coordinator. Doesn't it seem like defensive coordinators generally can be like older, and that doesn't, the evolution isn't as fast as offense? This could be unfair, but like I think Fangio's like an old guy, Spagnuolo's an old guy, Dick LeBeau was around forever. Offensive coordinator seems like more like a young man's game, and I'm not saying McDaniels is old by any stretch of the imagination.
Ladies.
As ladies, he's still very vibrant and can get an erection all on his own, I would imagine. But the maturity to thrust properly. But the but
improper thrusting really is the bane of a young virile man's existence.
exactly, because they no hip game, right? But it does seem like offensive coordinators, the evolution of it is it's like more of a young man's game. Just in terms of the position.
Well, it would make sense then if when you turn to a certain expert why he thinks that Josh McDaniels, who is 48 years old, not necessarily what you would call a young offensive coordinator, the decision was made to hire a not necessarily super youthful guy. What does our expert have to say?
I hope it's really Vrabel's call and not the Kraft's call.
It's a Kraft call. It's clear. It's an obvious Kraft call. Obvious.
Why do you say that?
Because Josh McDaniels is a Robert Kraft guy, and we've had enough reporting questioning whether Vrabel would even consider Josh McDaniels to run whatever offense he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot like Don Morocco and Tito Martinez. There was a lot of behind-the-scenes posturing by Bobby the Brain Heenan. Danny, go ahead.
Hey, Fred. Just so I want to make a call about the Patriots there and that hiring there. I don't care who you put in charge over there for the offense. If they don't get a couple receivers and an offensive line, it's going to be a failure. So this guy coming back in.
That goes without saying.
Yeah, you need guys to play.
Yeah.
Did you hear the ESPN theory that they would trade for Tyreek Hill?
I saw that, yes.
Well, that would be a disaster. So a guy who is disgruntled in the young McDaniel offense with that zooming all around, the guy that was destructive and that is old and a problem, bring him in to mentor a young team, to be the veteran, to be like the captain of this team.
I'd rather them get Antonio Brown back than bring in Tyreek Hill.
I mean, that's the comp. That's really the comp.
Yeah.
Like Tyreek Hill's
is
great.
on his way, isn't he? He's on his way to being Antonio Brown.
And I think he's a worse person than Antonio Brown.
I think just Antonio Brown's mentally ill. Like Kansas City really fell off the map when Tyreek Hill left. Like why would you? They're like, if they whiff on T. Higgins, then trade for. So you're going to give up assets to get Tyreek Hill in here to shoot his way out right away? And I'd like to see him and McDaniels coexist at this stage in everyone's career. No way.
No.
I mean, and look, this is a test for McDaniels. There's no Belichick to rest your reputation on. There's no Brady to Brady was self-motivating. There's none of that stuff. Obviously, he's got bona fides. It's an uninspired hire, and just some of the arguments for it are not logical. But look, we'll see. It's not a head scratcher.
No, it's not a bad hire. It's a lazy hire.
Yeah,
it shows you that
it's uninspired.
It shows you that the guy in charge will never change. He's not going to try anything new until he passes away or sells the team. So, I mean, this is the way it's going to be run. He was given a great opportunity to wipe the slate clean and didn't do anything close to that.
Yeah,
he brought in, I like that guy, and I like that guy, and I want both of them here.
The relationships continue to trump just about everything else.
Exactly right.
Yeah, and
exactly
I wonder why
right.
he was just, and the more that like this hiring cycle goes on, I'm wondering why he was so hyper-focused on Vrabel. I mean, it's that comfort. Right?
I still think Vrabel was the best candidate out there, though.
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know.
But Fred, you don't know. It might end up being Aaron Glenn. He might end up being the best, head coach of the hires this year. But you truly don't know because he hasn't done it.
You didn't give yourself an opportunity to find anybody.
Yeah, that's the thing.
There might be a guy out there. Who knows?
Yeah, it's just.
You have no idea because you didn't look.
Yeah, and I don't know why you couldn't have looked, right? Like, why you had to do it so fast. A lot of it's very confusing to me.
Because Vrabel would have been hired. He would have been hired by the...
But by who?
Okay, by the Jets.
No. The Jets. I think the Jets... led to believe the Jets have always wanted Aaron Glenn, and this was kind of always already done.
I heard that too, but ultimately, I think I agree with him. He would have been hired by somebody.
Vrabel would have gotten a job. I don't know if Vrabel. No. Vrabel would have gotten a job. I don't know if Vrabel would have gotten a job like that day. Like,
No.
right? Like, I don't know if you couldn't have hired him a week from then. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why it had to be done that early in the process.
Well, I'll add one more thing in here. If it weren't for their agreement with Gerard Mayo, I think Vrabel is who they wanted last year.
Yes, that is, I believe that to be the case.
If you just want another reason why they did it so fast, this is what they really wanted to begin with.
Yeah, I know, but
it doesn't make it right.
It doesn't make
but
it
it
right.
does explain why they do it so quickly.
Just you have no clue what assistant could have come in and blown you away. I keep going back to Mike Tomlin. Steelers weren't going to hire Mike Tomlin, but he went in and killed it. And they hired him, and look where we are with them.
I don't know how.
The Patriots could have found a guy like that, but we'll never know.
Because I just don't know if someone would have, like, the day after the regular season hired Vrabel. Like, they needed to do it that week. Like, everyone else was panicking. No one else has settled. I mean, Ben Johnson, obviously Chicago was getting Ben Johnson. When we talked to Burkett from Detroit, he seemed to know that. So obviously he knew that was happening. The Post knew that Glenn was going to New York. Those teams had done it, but they also interviewed an assload of coaches, so they weren't going to take Vrabel. McCarthy now is loose. I don't know. We'll see.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.